Operating system. Operating system is an integral part of computer system as it controls the working of entire computer system and acts as an interface between the user and the computer. Computer does not understand the user's data and instructions. It is the operating system software which translates them into the machine executable form and get the user's work done by the hardware. Operating system is also known as the manager of computer system as it manages computer's memory, controls the working of all hardware and software components, and helps CPU in processing and calculating. Some popular operating systems are Microsoft Windows, such as Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, and Windows XP, Apple's Mac OS, and Linux. Working of operating system. When the computer is switched on, the operating system is loaded first in the computer's main memory. This process is known as booting. Once the booting is done, the system comes in the control of user. After this, the application software is loaded by the user to do the desired work. User gives instructions to the application software which are translated by the operating system and passed on to the hardware for processing the data. Need for operating system. One of the major jobs of operating system is that it acts as an interface between the user and computer. Along with this, there are many other jobs which are performed by the operating system for the smooth functioning of computer. It manages the various hardware components connected with the system like input, output devices, memory devices, processing devices, etc. The resources required to complete the data processing cycle are allocated by the operating system as and when needed. Overall, it is the operating system software which makes the computer an effective machine. Functions of operating system. Some of the major functions of the operating system are:
it allows the user to give instructions to operate the computer.
It runs various application software. It manages the files and folders stored on the computer. It manages the memory of the computer. It controls input and output devices. Types of operating system. Based on their functionality, operating system can be categorized as single-user operating system. A single-user operating system allows only one user to use the system resources. For example, MS-DOS. The Android operating system in our tablets and phones and the Mac OS on Apple computers are all single-user operating system. Multi-user operating system. Multi-user operating system allows multiple users to use the system resources simultaneously.
Linux, Windows Server, etc. are some of its examples.
Multitasking operating system. A multitasking operating system allows multiple jobs to run simultaneously on the computer system. Apple's Mac OS is one of its examples. Time-sharing operating system. A time-sharing operating system is a multitasking operating system in which the CPU time is divided equally among all the jobs waiting for the time on the CPU. Normally, this time slice is 10 to 100 microseconds. Real-time operating system. A real-time operating system is a data processing system in which there is a very short interval of time given for processing and responding to inputs. It is used in robots, weather forecasting, satellite control system, patient monitoring system, and in computer-controlled automated machines. Distributed operating system. A distributed operating system runs on various independent machines connected with each other, such that they exchange messages, programs, and processing tasks with each other. These operating systems are very complex, as they have to effectively manage the distributed resources, and that too by maintaining the security and privacy of these resources. User interface.
In context with the computer system, User interface is a system that allows a user to communicate with the computer such that they can easily interact with each other.
Computer helps the user to solve many types of problems, but it can do so only with the instructions given by the user. So, there should be an interactive as well as user-friendly system through which a user can give instructions to the computer. It is the operating system software which implements this interface between the user and computer. An interactive user interface helps the user to handle the system quickly and easily. The two main types of user interface are Character User Interface, CUI, Graphical User Interface, GUI. Character User Interface, CUI. Character User Interface is also known as Command Line User Interface. It is a text-based interface which allows the user to interact with the computer system by issuing text-based commands in one or more lines to the program. No graphical component like menus or icons are available to enter commands. Instead, these are to be typed.
The keyboard is mainly used as an input device in this interface to interact with the system.
While working with this interface, user needs to remember all the commands, and moreover, user needs to type these commands every time on the command prompt to work on the computer. That's why CUI is not a very user-friendly interface. MS-DOS and Unix are the examples of command line user interface. Graphical User Interface, GUI. GUI, or Graphical User Interface, is a type of interface which allows the user to interact with the computing devices using graphical objects like menus, icons, mouse pointer, etc. instead of text-based interface, which makes it easy for the user to communicate with the computer system. As commands in this interface are issued using built-in menus or icons and mouse pointer, so the main input device which is used to work in the environment is mouse rather than keyboard. You need not memorize the complex commands and waste time in typing these on the command prompt to get your work done. That's why this interface is mostly used in the modern computers to make the computing process easier and convenient. The most commonly used GUI-based operating systems are Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Chrome OS, Ubuntu, etc. Advantages of GUI. Before the introduction of Windows and Apple Mac OS, command-based interface was popularly used for interacting with the computer, which was difficult to use and work with. But the introduction of GUI environment, the computing process became easier and user-friendly. The main advantages of using GUI environment are easier to use. Working in GUI environment is easier and more convenient, as there is no need to learn and type the text-based commands. Faster to work, as there is no need to waste time in typing the commands, but these are to be executed with mouse clicks. It is much faster to use. Graphics-based. Because of the graphical components available to interact with the system, it makes the output screen much more visually intuitive. User-friendly. Because of easy-to-use environment, GUI attracts more users, especially the new users to work with the computer system. Benefits of WYSI-WYG. It gives all the benefits of working in WYSI-WYG. What you see is what you get. Environment, that is, user can see the output on the screen before getting its hard copy. Disadvantages of GUI. Although GUI has many advantages, which lead to the popularization of this working environment. But along with these, it also suffers with some disadvantages, like needs more storage space. As GUI is based on graphical components, it consumes more space in the storage device as well as in the RAM when it is loaded. higher system configuration. We cannot use this environment on old systems with lower configuration, but we need to procure systems with higher processing speed and more storage capacity. Expensive.
GUI-based operating systems are costlier as compared to CUI-based operating system.
The user has to pay heavy license fee to purchase these. Frequent changes.
As the working environment is updated on a very frequent basis, user needs to understand the new changes every time after addition or removal of features in the previous version.
Differences between CUI and GUI. There are several differences between CUI and GUI which are discussed below. CUI, Character User Interface. GUI, Graphical User Interface. Used in old computers. Used in modern computers. User has to type on keyboard to work. User can perform actions using mouse. Harder to navigate, easier to navigate, has only text, has graphics and images as well.